Good evening. It's August 29th, 2015. My next major project on this railroad is to give this area of the landscape a makeover and turn it into something hopefully resembling a forest. Before I can work on the ground cover and get that up to date, I need to first remove all the trees. So let me take care of that and I'll be right back. I've now cleared the landscape. It looks pretty barren now. The ground cover is a three-step process. The first step was done many months ago. I covered the whole area with a coating of sand just to give it a temporary base texture. For the second step, I need a whole lot of extra stuff. Here's some of the stuff that goes into making my ground cover. At the bottom we have chunks of rock graded into several different sizes. In my case it's the chips of plaster that came off while I was doing the main rock forms. If you have a ready source of gravel, by all means use that, but I didn't, so I made my own. Up here I have chopped leaves. They're actually real leaves shredded in a blender. Then I have sifted dirt and the coarse stuff that wouldn't go through the sieve. Down here I have a pile of broken up twigs to represent logs. I also need white glue, a tray and a cheap throwaway paintbrush. Alright, let's get busy. Okay, what I'm doing now is painting on a layer of full strength white glue. I work in a fairly small area at a time. Now the full strength glue is used to stick down the larger rocks and twigs, because the dilute glue that I use later on just won't cut it. Also at the same time I take the opportunity to get the whole forest floor covered in a layer of fallen leaves. I want to only coat the areas that gravity would allow loose material to stay on. I don't want to get any glue on vertical rocks. If I accidentally do so, I will wipe it off, also I will wash it off with clean water before I continue. It doesn't matter if I miss a few areas, because I can always come back and do them later. But for the time being, I just want to get the bulk of the landscape covered. Alright, I think that's enough. I don't bother putting any at the back because I won't be able to see them anyway through all the trees. Now what I do, while the glue is still wet, is I sprinkle a layer of dead leaves over everything. It won't all stick. Some of it I will glue down later on with the dilute glue, and some of it will be removed. If you look in a real forest, virtually every flat surface is covered in a carpet of leaves. Well, last night I got the entire area covered in the dead leaves. I put out a load of logs and rocks. I've also brushed off most of the excess because I was putting on way too much. I got carried away with it. This morning I'm going to take care of the next step. Let's have a look at the materials. Okay, I've put away the larger stones. I've just got the small sizes left. I've also used up most of the large twigs. I've got a lot of little pieces left. I didn't use any of the sifted dirt yesterday, but I might use it today. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And I've also got a whole load of leftover ground foam, which I'm going to add as ground cover. For this step, what I've done is I've mixed together several different colours of the fine ground foam, and I'm going to throw it down all over the place. Not trying for an even coverage, I just want to give it a little bit of colour. Now I've got some coarse, also in different colours. I have some small rocks, and of course the stuff that I glued down yesterday helps to stop this sliding off. Okay, let's go back to my twigs. So I've got the smaller logs now. Or dead wood as it's sometimes called. Now what I'm going to do is give it a mist spray. Trying to stay far enough back that I don't blast too much of it off. Anyway, now that it's all soaking wet, I'm going to take my diluted glue and dribble it on all over the place. Actually, I'm not sure that's wet enough up there. I've covered the entire area now with the random ground foam and other bits and pieces. I've sprayed it with water and dribbled the dilute glue on all over the place. Wherever I get runs down the rocks and down the face here, I do a little bit of mopping up with your clean water and paper towel. Eventually I'll come back and add some more dirt and weeds wherever there are ledges on the rocks, wherever dirt would settle. But I can't do it at the moment because there are a few areas of rock face that have glue running down it, and if I attempt to add anything more now, I'll end up getting stuff stuck where I don't want it to. So best thing I can do now is to leave the room and wait till tomorrow. I've finished all the ground cover and left it to dry. Now I'm ready to start planting trees. With that in mind, I have moved them all from the storeroom to the middle of the layout room. I probably have way too many trees to plant in that area, but at least this way I will have a good selection, so I should be able to find exactly the right tree for any location. I've got approximately 350 trees here ready to plant. So let me just get set up and I'll see you in a minute. I'm going to start with the area at the back by the stream. I was thinking about having the trees come together in an arch over the stream, and this is the tree I've selected to go in first, about there. So I get the position right, I find the right size drill and drill a hole through the plaster. The white dust is unfortunate That's why I keep the trusty shop vac nearby. And then push it in the hole. I went quite deep with that one deliberately because I've got this other tree trying to push it over. And I like how those two come together in an arch over the stream. Now I need to fill in this area so that I can't actually see through because there's no backdrop there. So let's look for a smaller tree. Here's a really stumpy one. Yeah, I'm going to put that in there, just like that. Okay, it's only a small hole and I don't think I'm going to be able to get the drill in there without wrecking this tree. So I'm just going to use a pin vise on this one. Can't find the hole. There it is. Anyway, since it's the mixed forest, I'm going to get some conifers in now. And this one needs bracing because it doesn't want to stand up straight. So anyway, I'm just going to keep going like that and I'll check in with you later. Well, last night I planted around 24 trees in this one small area. Before I go any further, I need to fill in some bushes and undergrowth. If you look down here, you can see right through underneath the tree canopy, and I don't want to be able to do that. I'm going to fill this in two ways. At the back, where we can see right underneath, what I'm going to do is just tear off some pieces of furnace filter and stuff it in just to fill it in. Doesn't really matter what colour it is because it'll be in so much shadow you won't be able to see it anyway. It just needs to block out the bulk of the light. And I'm going to do that all the way down. The other thing I need to do at this stage, before I get too much further, is to add some bushes underneath the trees while I can still reach. Anyway, I think that forest floor looks a lot better now, so I'm going to go back to planting trees. The first kind of bush I make is using the same furnace filter material that I've been using for all the trees. I tear off little pieces, grab them on the end of the tweezers, give it a blast of hairspray, roll it in some green ground foam, shake off the excess, second blast to seal it. So that gives a nice green bush. I also do some with a second coat. After sealing it on that, roll it in some very light or yellow ground foam. Or if I want something in between with just a little bit of yellow on it, after rolling it in the green and sealing that, instead of dipping it, I just sprinkle on a tiny bit of yellow. It gives a much lighter touch. Same method works with fall colours, such as this fall rust from my old supplier, Woodland Scenics. I use quite a lot of that as well. It seems to look quite good. The other kind of bush I make is using the dark green clump foliage. Exactly the same method. Grab it in the tweezers, spray it with hairspray, roll it in the green, and then optionally either dip or sprinkle yellow. So there we are. Very easy to make. Can do a batch of 50 or 60 of those in just a few minutes, and they look quite good on the layout. They are very fragile to start with. The hairspray takes a while to set up. Although they can be used immediately, they're best if they can be left overnight, because then they don't tend to fall apart so easily. Okay, that's all for now.